Welcome to the guide, Exile. In this guide we will be looking at the Forsaken Masters, what they offer, and how to effectively use them. In the capital of Oriath, Theopolis, there is a court of divine temperance, presided over by the High Templar Dominus. Some think that Dominus only exiled the dregs and waste of Oriath to the shores of Rayclast. No, Dominus exiled everyone and anyone who was going to give him trouble, or who was going to cause ripples in his progressive theocracy. 8 men and women, masters in their fields, stood against Dominus's tyranny. Some with words, others with steel. These 8 masters were forsaken and sent to die in Rayclast. 8 masters who lived, learned, and now thrive, and can train you, offering you special wares and provide you shelter, if you so choose to help them. The Forsaken Masters are spread out amongst Rayclast, awaiting your assistance. You will encounter them in act zones as well as maps, in no set order or frequency. The Forsaken Masters consist of Katarina, Master of the Dead, Elrion, Lore Master, Haku, Armor Master, Leo, Master of the Arena, Tora, Master of the Hunt, Vagan, Weapon Master, Varici, Master Assassin, and finally Zana, the Master Cartographer. As a side note, a few of these masters have slightly different mechanics in terms of discovery and progression. Leo is a PvP-aligned master, and is not found in the wild, rather he is found in the Act 3 town, and you progress through his daily PvP missions. Zana is only found in maps, and will not appear in any towns, but rather at the Eternal Laboratory after you complete your first map. The masters will request that you perform a mission for them within the current zone, which, if completed, will earn you reputation with them. Reputation acts like experience for masters, and will increase their level to a maximum of 8. Each level a master achieves will unlock beneficial features for that master, so it is important to make sure that you are completing their missions whenever you see them. Later in the guide we will discuss what masters and master levels you should prioritize. Each master has a special mission type, but in general are straightforward and completable on all build types, albeit somewhat annoying. Varici. After you have completed a master's first mission, they will appear in their respective Act towns. Elrion and Haku will appear in Lion's Eye Watch in Act 1. Katarina and Tora will appear in the Forest Encampment in Act 2. Leo, Vagan, and Varici will appear in the Sarn Encampment in Act 3. And finally, as mentioned before, Zana will appear in the Eternal Laboratory in Act 3 after you have completed your first map. You will now be able to interact and trade with these masters, however, they do not offer much more lucrative deals than the current shops in town. Do not fear, once you have completed a few more missions and masters reach level 3, you will begin to have access to all of the true power that the Forsaken Masters offer. Once a master has reached level 3, you will be able to claim a hideout from them. A hideout is simply a player-owned housing instance that can be customized, decorated, and utilized for more efficient gameplay. Each of the Forsaken Masters offers a different hideout and style from one another, so let us take a look at all the hideouts. Katarina offers the Unearthed hideout, which consists of a dark graveyard much like the Fellshrine ruins. Elrion offers the Enlightened hideout, a library shrouded in darkness holding years of research. Haku offers the Coastal hideout, a bright warm beach within the corruption and darkness of Rayclast. Leo offers the Overgrown hideout, a moss and grass-covered steppes overlooking the ocean. Tora offers the Lush hideout, a clearing next to the river, rich in green vegetation. Vagan offers the Battle-Scarred hideout, a large square platform with extending stairs. Varici offers the Backstreet hideout, down in the depths of the slums. Zana offers the Immaculate hideout, large dark rooms with a main balcony leading into a depth of fog. Now you only need to have a level 3 master of the hideout that you wish to claim. Hideouts are only differentiable by their looks and nothing else, so you will not gain any advantages having one hideout versus another. You are also able to claim another master's hideout after you have already claimed a hideout, as long as that master is level 3 or higher. You are able to access your hideout from any waypoint by clicking the blue hideout icon in the bottom right of the map. You can also get to your hideout by typing /hideout command into the chat while inside any town or other hideout. Once inside your hideout, you will have direct access to your stash and guild stash, as well as the master from which you claimed the hideout. You can dismiss this master for a selection of any other masters. You do not need to keep the master that provides the hideout base. You will also be able to invite more masters to your hideout as long as they are of level 2 or higher. Masters invited to your hideout provide daily missions and hideout decorations. Daily missions provide 250% more reputation than regular In the Wild quests to its respective master and resets their shops. Shop inventories will reset whether you complete or fail their daily mission. Performing In the Wild and daily missions for masters provide favor for that master, to which you can use to purchase their hideout decorations. All decorations, much like the hideout base, are purely cosmetic. To start, you will have a small hideout, which allows for a total of 2 masters to be invited. As the master you claimed the hideout from gains more levels, you can upgrade your hideout to a medium at master level 5 and a large hideout at master level 7. Larger hideouts expand the tile set to include new areas and set pieces, as well as the ability to invite more masters at a time. Medium hideouts will allow for a total of 4 masters, and a large hideout allows for a total of 7 masters. Leo and Zana do not count towards the master limit, and Navali can also be invited to your hideout even though she is not a Forsaken Master, and she does not count towards the master limit as well. If you are to dismiss a master, you will lose all of the reputation they have in their current level. In general, you will not need to dismiss any masters, as you can house all of the masters in your large hideout. To edit your hideout, simply press the Edit button in the bottom right. This allows you to move and rotate items that are already placed around in your hideout, as well as delete placed items by clicking on the item and then pressing the Delete key. Deleted items will end up in the Hideout tab, which can be accessed by pressing the button in the lower right next to the Edit button. Here is where all of the decorations you have purchased or crafting benches you own will be if they have not been placed in the hideout yet. To place, simply right-click the item in the Hideout tab and then left-click the location for which you wish to place the item in the hideout. Some decorations will have various permutations that you can choose from by scrolling the mouse wheel over the item once they are placed. Now that we have placed our provided crafting bench, what do we do with that bench? Each Forsaken Master, as their name states, is a master of their respective study, granting you an outlet in the form of a crafting bench to tap into that knowledge. After a master has reached level 2 and you have a hideout, you will be able to claim their crafting bench. The following crafting benches are provided by each Forsaken Master, and craft upon certain item bases with certain affixes. To easily obtain all of your crafting benches, you can type the command claim crafting benches into the chat. This will place all available crafting benches from level 2 or higher masters into your hideout inventory. These crafting benches are amazing, as they allow you to craft on guaranteed medium tier affixes at a low cost. This allows you to craft on magic or rare items to better fit your current gear requirements without having to gamble on rolls. Need some more life? Craft it on. Need an elemental resistance? Craft it on. Providing, of course, that the prefix or suffix is open respectively. Currently, outside of master crafting, the only way of filling an open affix on a rare item is to use an exalted orb, which is expensive and can result in unwanted affixes. If you are unaware of how item crafting and explicit affixes work, take a look at my item guide video for further explanation on item affixes. To start, you will only have access to weak craftable affixes at lower master levels. As the master level increases, you will gain access to not only stronger versions of existing craftable affixes, but more affixes as well. Stronger affixes will of course cost more currency to craft on. Crafted affixes will show as a light blue text in the item description panel. They also follow these rules. You can only have one affix on an item, excluding certain master meta crafting. The item cannot already have an affix of that type, so you cannot craft life on an item with life on it already. The item must have a prefix or suffix open for that respective affix to be crafted. If these rules are not met, then the affix you are trying to craft will appear as red in the crafting bench. You will want to get your master to level 7 at a minimum. At this level, they have the highest tiers of craftable affixes, as well as the Remove Crafted mod, which is very valuable for re-rolling or removing unwanted crafted affixes on items. You will only be able to remove crafted item affixes on the respective bench for that item type. This is the only deterministic way of removing a crafted affix. At master level 8, every master gets a special meta crafting modifier. They are the following. Varici and Zana do not have special meta modifiers, but unique crafting purposes instead. As you can see, there are some very expensive crafts, but allowing for very interesting crafting results. I will not be covering meta crafting in this guide, but for those interested, there are some good guides that exist for methods used with them. I will link appropriate guides in the description for the time being. As a beginner or even intermediate player, you will not have to concern yourself with these crafting methods as they are for invested crafters. For now, we will only worry about fixing items with simple, single affix crafts. Speaking of unique meta crafts that the masters can perform, they also have some interesting signature mods that they sell on their items and shops. Each Forsaken Master has a shop where they sell various items related to their crafting bench item affinities. These shops reset once you complete or fail their daily mission. Each master has a discounted currency exchange amongst the items they sell. At Master Level 4, the Forsaken Master will sell a magic item with their signature modifier. All signature modifiers are prefixes and are as follows for each Forsaken Master. The item level for these items will be well under the maximum item level, so you will not be able to craft the maximum tier affixes on them. Nevertheless, these signature mod bases can make for some great items if crafted properly. Note, signature mods, like other affixes, can be rolled over or scoured from an item, so you will have to craft these items in one attempt, making for a difficult craft. You will always want to be checking Elrion, Vegan, and Haku all the time for their signature mods. I will discuss a few strategies for crafting these base types, which of course does not cover all of the options for crafting these base types. Elrion jewelry is incredibly useful for not only leveling, but for endgame builds that are very mana intensive. It is always worth getting every piece of jewelry that you can from him. Always keep an eye out for -8 values, as these have good inherent value if found on a good base. For amulets, you will want to be crafting on the attribute bases. For rings, you will want to be crafting on the elemental resistance or diamond bases. All other bases you can craft if you'd like, but more often than not, they are worth leaving as they are. This is so that they can be worn at low level whilst not many defenses are needed, as crafting on affixes can raise the level requirement of an item. For crafting, you can simply augment and regal the item and hope for 2 good affixes to be added to the item, and then you can craft on the 4th affix to finish the amulet or ring off. As an example of more deterministic crafting, you can make use of a crafting bench to first perform a form of affix blocking and some meta crafting. This method has not been discussed in this guide yet, but in short, you are simply crafting an affix that you do not want to appear on the item, as to better your chances of getting an affix that you do want by reducing the pool of affixes that can be picked from. So you craft on any suffix that you do not want to see on the item. For this example, I craft on item rarity, as it'll be a useless stat for me. Now the item is affix full as a magic item, so I regal it to add another affix and make it rare. In this step, we hope to get a good affix. Unfortunately, in this example, we do not. But assuming that we did get a good affix, we would then take it back to the crafting bench, remove the blocked affix, leaving us with a 2 affix item. We would then craft on can have multiple crafted mods, leaving us able to craft 3 more guaranteed affixes on the item. This of course is a very expensive method for crafting, but can result in some very good rings if done properly. Vegan weapons are useful for many builds, as it provides them with resolute technique without the downside of being unable to deal critical strikes. The most valuable of these weapon bases are one-handed swords and daggers, as you will want to make use of critical strikes with these weapons. There are many different methods for crafting these daggers, which are generally expensive and are only worth doing if you are invested in crafting a vegan weapon. You will want to look out for tier 1 sword and dagger bases with the signature mod. To make things simple, we can consider crafting a physical attack weapon. You can simply block an unwanted suffix, such as accuracy, with Vegan's crafting bench, and then regal the weapon and hope for a high tier increased physical damage or flat physical damage. Increased attack speed, critical strike chance, or critical strike multiplier are good, but not as powerful to land with the regal, as you will then have to master craft increased physical damage and flat physical damage, which have very low ranges in comparison to their tier 1 counterparts. If you do land a high physical damage roll, you can try and sell the item as is to somebody who is interested in the meta mod crafting the weapon with can have multiple crafted mods to complete the item, or you can do this yourself and craft in the missing affixes previously mentioned. Daggers can also be crafted with spell affixes, so they can be much more complicated for crafting. Again, this is a very high level and specific vegan craft here, which isn't encompassing for all types of vegan weapons, which definitely require a guide of their own. Haku weapons aren't actually useful as weapons, since an affix is ultimately wasted on quality to gems in comparison to the power of available weapon affixes. Instead, these are great for leveling certain gems in your weapon swap. You will want to find a high-rolled one of these items to socket an Empower, Enhance, or Enlighten gems in, and place into your weapon swap. This is because these gems require a lot of experience to level up and gain more experience with higher quality, so the Haku weapon will level the gems faster. The other master signature mods can be useful in niche situations, but are generally not as valuable as these signature modifiers. Now, when a master reaches level 8, they will also have a 25% chance of selling a unique item in their shop, so make sure to keep an eye out for your level 8 master shops. Since we mentioned some crafting techniques in this section, let's take a look at some other simple strategies we can make use of with the crafting benches. There are a few simple crafting tips that I would like to mention that you can take advantage of with master crafting benches. The main one, which was mentioned before, is affix blocking. As mentioned for crafting Elrion jewelry, you can block an affix that you do not wish to appear on an item by crafting that affix onto the item before you continue crafting it. You can also use this method to generally block a prefix or suffix slot. This method is mainly used when you're trying to exalt an affix onto a rare item and wish to increase your chances of obtaining a desired affix. So for example, let's say we have the following rare chest piece. Here we can see that we have both an open prefix and open suffix slot, as a rare item can have a maximum of 3 prefixes and 3 suffixes. For this item, we want to exalt the item and get the prefix % increased energy shield and % increased stun and block recovery. Since this is a prefix, we can craft on a suffix onto the item to block all other suffixes from the pool of affixes that the exalt can roll. This provides us a guaranteed chance of getting a prefix and a much better chance of getting the prefix that we want. For this item, we can simply craft on another resistance to not only improve its value, but block the suffix slot. This method can be used on all item types and varies slightly depending on the affix that you wish to craft. If you are not fully blocking a prefix or a suffix, you will want to craft whichever affix that you do not want that also has the highest probability of rolling, thus further increasing your chances for the desired affix. Buying and selling. With master crafting, you can easily improve an item for little cost, resulting in a great return in value when selling to another player. If you do find a decent item, it is always worth seeing what else you can master craft onto it to improve its value. When players search trade indexers such as PoE Trade, they will be looking for a set amount of affix values for which your item as it is may not meet. In general, players are looking for high amounts of a resource like life or energy shield, and high amounts of elemental resistances. You will want to craft whichever of these are missing if the item is low on one of these affixes. Of course, you will not want to craft life onto an item if it has energy shield, or vice versa. This will improve the value of your item, and more people will see it when searching the trade indexers. If you are more aware of the current meta, you can take advantage of this knowledge to craft certain affixes to target specific builds. So always keep your eye out for halfway decent items that you can make better with the master crafting. Now, the same awareness should be taken when buying items. You will want to keep your searches loose for items allowing you to see items that may not have a master crafted affix on it, or even items with a master crafted affix that you may not need, but can be removed for an affix that you do need. Keep your eyes out for items with open or removable master crafted prefix or suffix slots for the affix for which you can craft on to make the item good for your build. So if an item that you find has an open suffix or a master crafted suffix that you do not need, you can purchase that item, remove the suffix, and then craft on your own suffix, such as a resistance. There are of course more detailed and in-depth crafting techniques that the Forsaken Masters can be used for, but they are beyond this introductory guide, as seen with the Vegan weapon crafting, and require a guide of their own. Masters are a vital part of a successful temporary league start. Especially if you are playing a solo self-found league, they are necessary. Since they provide deterministic crafting of affixes to items, you can fix and upgrade items you find or purchase to meet your requirements as seen in the previous sections. It is recommended to get a hideout as soon as possible so you can begin performing your master's daily missions. As for which masters to level, I recommend inviting them to your hideout in this order of importance, but to level all of them in the end. Haku, Elrion, and or Tora are great for general progression amongst all of your characters, allowing you to fix resource and resistance values on all gear slots. Vegan and Katarina. Depending on the type of character you're building, you will want Vegan if you are attack-based, or Katarina if you are spell-based. Varici, due to his utility for modifying sockets. Zana. Zana is a very important master to level for her value, as she gives you a map device for your hideout, along with a shop for maps and more modifiers for maps. She is only near the end of this list due to the fact that you will not encounter her until the end of the game, and at that point you will be well structured with your other masters. Finally, Leo is not as important for the general player to level, but he does have useful mods for those interested in PvP and niche builds with damage over time. Once these masters are in your hideout, it is recommended to always be performing their daily missions to ensure that they reach level 7 as soon as possible. Of course, daily missions reset at 12 AM GMT time. Other than this, make sure to always be checking the aforementioned masters for their currency exchanges, unique items at level 8, signature modifier items, and of course maps from Zana to expand your atlas and progression. The Forsaken Masters have brought you their knowledge and bestowed upon you a great crafting power. You now have the ability to deterministically craft affixes you require, assistance in crafting other items, access to unique affix items, personal shops, and possibly the best part, your own decoratable hideout. So, Exile, I hope you have learned a thing or two about the importance of the Forsaken Masters and why you should be partaking in their missions and crafting. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one, Exile.